I have had this view about this topic for quite a long time about man and woman. I've grown up in a international school and I've seen a lot of things since I was young. Social media is talking about a lot of things like equalities between the sexes and the melding of the sexes. And I've always have a strong opinion on this, which is that man and woman, we're built different. We're built differently. We're very different. We're not the same. We may be both humans, but we're like two opposite in the spectrum of humanity. Two polar opposites. And that's why there's always a saying called like men's are from Mars, women from Venus. We're not the same. And the reason we're not the same is because of energy. There's energy and within the energy there's the masculine energy and the feminine energy. I would say something like yin and yang. And masculine energy is based on logic and actions, while feminine energy is more about emotions, nurturing, taking. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. It's one can't have without the other. It's energy is just two different polarities. And masculine is about logic, action, power. It's about do, and it's hard. It has strength, but it lacks softness. It's unbending. And feminine energy is about emotions, care, nurture. It has a softness. It can bend. It can make things, easy, but it lacks that hardness. It lacks action, I would say. And life is just incomplete with just one of them. Everybody has both. And man embodies more of these masculine traits, masculine energy, and female women tend to embody the feminine energy. There's always, outliers, but this is something that's rooted down within our nature. Like a scale between polarities, right? There's two opposite extremes, like masculine and feminine. Even though they're energy, there will be women that are gonna be more masculine than men, and there's gonna be a men that are more feminine than women, as we see these days in a lot of social medias and TikTok. There are women that are quite strong, and there are men that are quite feminine, quite soft. They're two opposite traits. But there's one thing is that when I talk about that, there will be women that are like manlier than men and men that are more women than feminine than women. One thing to keep in mind is that the most feminine man will never out feminine the most feminine woman, and the vice versa. The most masculine woman will never out masculine the most masculine man. It is it is a strength that we're given. It's just different. But we have to know that every human being we both possesses both the masculine and the feminine energy. We're not all men are just masculine energy. Not all women are just feminine energy. It's like a skill, right? We all fall within these skills. Men will tend to be around here. Women will tend to be around here. But a woman can never reach this extreme, and a man can never reach this extreme. That's one thing to like consider, right? It's like, the old adage saying, it's like yin and yang. Within the yin yang circle, right? The yang has a trace of yin, and the yin has a trace of yang. As human being, even though we're more masculine dominant, we're gonna have a trace of the femininity, and the most feminine woman will have a trace of masculinity. It's just what it is. And back to being man and woman, what I want to say is like our bodies, we're human, right? So that makes us human species, but our operating system, our brain function is very different. Our building blocks slightly differ too. We have different hormones, we have different thought processes, our body function a little differently than one another, which is to make, that will make sense later on. That's because like men were built to provide and spread our seeds, and women they are meant to bring life and to find the most, you know, competent, powerful man to help them, take care of them, and nurture the next generations. We're just very different, but as a species, we're meant to create. We're meant to evolve and I would say nurture the next generations. It's a polarity. It's a characteristic, masculine and feminine. But it is when we embody our strength, you know. When you embody your main energy, that you can have a complementary partner and you can make a bigger creation, you know. You may be complete within yourself, but when you can embody your main energy, let's say you're a masculine man and you find a feminine woman, or you're a masculine female and you can find a feminine man, it works either way. It's when you can have two different energy when a couple with two different energy combines, right? It creates a bigger yin yang, you know, and then it kind of, you know, you create a life, you create something bigger, and the greatest creation of all is another life. You create another life together, and for that to sustain, right, you need to be able to be in your main energy. Then that's why we have to understand and we have to accept the fact that there's no equality in man and woman. Man and woman are not equal at all. We'll never be equal. Especially since in this world, there's no two things that is equal. Equality doesn't exist. And that is a concept that people has been trying to poke around each other and trying to like manipulate people, I believe, to make it seem like it's fair and stuff. But fairness doesn't exist. We're born with this, you know, different stats, you know, when we were created, when you're birthed, you know, your genomes are different, everything is different. And man and woman is just a character, you know, it's like a general characteristic that we were given since birth. You're a man, so you have these certain characteristics and this strength and weaknesses. If you're a woman, you have these strengths and weaknesses. And it is our job to make the best of what we are given, you know, instead of complaining. In a way, it's simple economics. Yeah, that's it.